Hey guys, what's going on? Third Street Reactions here. We're back. I'm Shane.
Zach.
We're back with Star Wars: The Clone Wars. We're watching chronological order, and this is episode 121. Last episode, we had another, like, a fantasy mythology episode.
Fucking Sage, or whatever the hell she is, with the split personality. She's actually dead.
Yeah.
She's a Force ghost, but she's able to wear Dawn clothing.
Yeah, retain her identity in a way.
Which it seems like she was much farther along than everyone we were left with, as far as Yoda, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Anakin.
Because she was flying around and shit?
Because she had clothing. Because after she disappeared, didn't her clothing fall on the ground?
Yeah.
I mean, I know in episode 9, Luke, he interacts with the X-Wing in terms of wearing clothes. Like, they were definitely Force Ghost clothes as well, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he was a, what do they call it, projection?
Yeah.
I think in the movie.
No, that was episode 8. In episode 9, when he's talking to Rey, when she exiles herself on that island,
Yeah.
he goes to talk to her and say, hey, listen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in 8, he's using that Force projection, which, yeah. I mean, I'm sure in canon and other canon there were bits of them interacting, but there's never been anything about them wearing clothes. I didn't think about that, but it makes sense that they might be farther along in their knowledge of the concept.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I guess that's pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe over time they can eventually do that shit.
I saw something pretty cool with Dave Filoni and Hayden and Rosario. Mm-hmm. They, you know, during the writer's strike, they're not even allowed to talk about the projects in any way. So they were doing the interview with Variety. But Dave, and I don't know if it's something that, like, they were thinking about, but he said, interesting, Anakin is helping Ahsoka fight for her life, which is the very same thing that turned him evil in episode 3. Like, now that he has achieved this enlightened state, now he's able to do it the right way.
I feel like he doesn't achieve an enlightened state, though, because when he died as Vader, he's a chosen one.
Give it to him.
And he's just...
Yeah.
He just came back. No one taught him how to do that shit.
Oh yeah, you're right. He didn't do what Qui-Gon and them did.
No.
But he fulfilled the prophecy, and I think that was like the achievement, I guess.
Yeah, achievement unlocked was.
But like Yoda, like going off in the middle of the night.
Luvatar, like something just waiting around, saying, "Okay, just give it to him."
He doesn't figure it out.
We also had a scene where he was fighting like Dark Yoda, like Dark Link.
Yeah.
Which Filoni's a video game guy.
Gollum Yoda.
Gollum Yoda. And I like the look. I like the red eyes. It just really reminded me of Dark Link. It's almost the exact same take on it. Mm-hmm. But it's always, I guess it would be interesting to think of like a Sith version of Yoda. I've seen like concept art, and I'm like, oh, that looks really cool.
What did the concept art make him look like? Did it make his skin pale?
Well, I saw this at the same place where I saw Darkside Obi-Wan, like Darkside Old Ben.
Yeah. He
looked more haggard and a little more vicious looking. Nails were sharpened, but his teeth weren't the same. His teeth were the same. I mean, because they're already sharp. You know what I mean? I mean, it's been years. But
his nails are already sharpened too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. When you saw it, I mean, he had dark robes on. That was the thing in the eyes. You know what I mean? But the eyes were more like Palpatine. Like Palpatine has more yellow and less red.
Mm-hmm. Interesting concepts they're toying with.
Yeah.
Expanding on. I just want to see.
This is the very last episode that like me and Eric got for like 5 or 6 years.
Well, this is the lost episodes, right?
Yeah, we didn't think we were going to get this. And then they said, by the way, we're releasing a bunch of unfinished arcs. We're going to finish them as much as we can. They're going to be released on Netflix. So we were really excited. I mean, I know Ahsoka is around later. Mm-hmm. In this episode, like, it doesn't really give us any answers for her story. We're like, well, what the fuck happens with her? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
George always enjoyed the wizard magic element, like fantasy, telling in a sci-fi world. And I think it was the Clone Wars. I think it's provided certainly one of the best outlets to be able to do that without the budgetary constraints of doing a live-action movie. I think the disappointment it could have for older fans if they don't do it the right way if it's live-action. Here it's like a cartoon, but I think it's very epic and it's meaningful. But I think we all know when it's live-action it's a little different. Like, I love Anakin in the Clone Wars, but he's definitely a better version than he is in live-action. You know what I mean? But they're the same characters, but when he was back in Ahsoka, it was just better. Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, it was a completely different setting. You didn't have George in there. Let's just give us some romance.
Yeah.
You know, like Romeo and Juliet stuff.
I guess I read that Hayden and Natalie, they just kept laughing. Like, and George was like, oh, come on, let's get back to the scene, you know? All right, guys, we're going to jump in. If you want to support us, make sure you check out our full-length uncut reactions. We're getting ready to do Rebels as well, or The Bad Batch. I think it's going to be Rebels. Make sure you guys stick around for the post-talk. Let's jump in.
I know, but it's like... Something about it makes it better. I know it makes it worse.
Think it's true?
Yeah.
Facing all that you fear will free you.
Yeah, to a point.
Yeah, but after prison, you'll never be free.
Careful we must be. Deserted this planet was, long ago, after many war.
So why did the Sith abandon Moraband?
if it's anything like Moraband, they were exiled basically into their civilization, developed the means to get out of there.
Leave you I must, my friend. Guard the ship you will. If return I do not by 3 nightfalls, take the ship to Coruscant you shall. Tell them of where I went.
It's always like red, desolate places, you know what I mean? Well, that just looks awful.
There is no life after death. Only nothingness awaits you, Jedi. You will die and be nothing.
You have been ordered to go to Coruscant immediately.
Tell Lord Sidious I am on my way.
So,
How is any of this possible?
Why do you come to my tomb, Jedi?
To learn.
Do you know who I am?
Yes. Darth Vader. The ancient Sith Lord you are.
And know why I am not forgotten?
Created the rule of 2. You did.
I created a legacy so resilient that now you come before me.
see, you recognize the voice.
To be my apprentice.
Dead you are already.
Then what stands before you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Real you are not.
You do not fear me.
No. Exist you do not anymore.
But how's that shit happening?
There's some distinction between a Force Ghost and like a Sith who is... There is an essence, but it's not their consciousness. It's like an echo of who they were. But he's bound to this place.
I sense we have a great opportunity to strike a deadly blow to the Jedi Order. But we must act swiftly.
It sounds a lot different. I'm not going to say Tim Curry has never win.
I'm not gonna say that either, but he just doesn't. He doesn't really sound the part, but he's just.
Yeah.
He's still Tim Curry. So.
Yeah.
The warning I must give you. All your trials you have faced have been our doing, and you have passed them well. But inside there is a place where we have no control, for it is a place of absolute darkness. It is a chamber where the Sith would sacrifice Jedi. The Sith of your time will find you there, and you will find them. Be careful, for what they may offer will certainly feel like an answer.
Only the presence of someone significant to you would allow you to sense this ripple through time and space.
My old master, Yoda.
Yes. Master Yoda has come to Moraband. Why? I do not know. We shall, however, use the strong bond that once existed between you and your master to allow us to see things that we otherwise could not.
How can this be done, master?
It is an old art of the dark side. Hold out your hand, apprentice. I need but a drop for the ritual to begin. Kintik Hatsuska Sutta Shwituska.
I do love that music.
Doobie's out is driving me nuts. You know? Fucking Doobie again.
Now, concentrate on Master Yoda.
But will he not sense our presence?
We shall come to him with a familiar face. A long-lost face.
Please free me.
Sifo Dyas. Alive you are.
Yoda, I have been imprisoned for so long.
Know who did this to you?
What if I could tell you who the Sith Lord is? Free me, and I will reveal it.
No.
How to achieve what you seek.
Captivated by the physical realm, the Sith are.
Free me, and together we can know who the Sith Lord is. Gain the power you deserve.
No.
You must free me!
Nothing to show me the Sith have.
We shall see.
Sidious.
There is no question the ship was carrying Count Dooku. We've scanned the area and he's meeting with someone inside the building.
Thanks, Rex. Master Yoda, what are your orders?
Orders? Where am I?
I don't understand.
Tell me, you must.
Master, this is your mission. Are you sure you're all right?
Clouded. The dark side has made me.
We intercepted a transmission calling Dooku to Coruscant. We believe he is meeting with his master, the Sith Lord.
Feel it, I do. Capture them, we will. The time has come to discover the identity of this Sith Master.
And if they escape?
Execute them, we must. End it now. We will.
Always like the industrial sector. I wonder if that's like the size of like a state.
Probably, because of how big Coruscant is.
Yeah.
I've got 2 confirmed targets. Be ready for additional unfriendlies.
It appears we have company.
Take him! We meet at last, Darth Sidious.
You cannot stop what is to come.
Skywalker, no!
They had the scene in here just so you can get some Sidious Yoda action in the Clone Wars.
I like the way it looks when it swings.
It's gotta have a clip inside that hood. Reminds me when Iroh counters Azuma's lightning.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Save him, Jedi. Can you save him? Why not let him go? Let him die, and you can stop all that I will do.
The future is not yours, yet. Captain, I will not be. Sacrifice all I am ready to do.
Love the imagery.
We have failed to break Master Yoda. He is strong. We will need more time if we are to defeat him.
Yoda,
It's a little sensual.
come back to us, Yoda.
Now, does my training begin?
The one you know as Qui-Gon Jinn will commune with you and guide your training. Like us, you shall learn to maintain your consciousness after death. There is another Skywalker.
There is another Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, time to go home. It is.
How long he was gone.
The Council council has assembled. They are eager to hear your report.
Not much there is to say of my journey.
So, nothing significant happened to you out there?
Yes. And no.
Did your journey give you insight on how to win the war?
No longer certain that one ever does win a war. For in fighting the battles, the bloodshed, already lost we have. Yet, open to us, a path remains that unknown to the Sith is. Through this path, victory we may yet find. Not victory in the Clone Wars, but victory for all time.
Okay. What does this shit mean?
Why does Obi-Wan get to learn it? Just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, he's the only one left, so. First of all, what do you think of the episode?
Well, that was interesting. I mean, the whole thing, I mean, I get that, especially with something like Star Wars, it's going to continuously expand. It's kind of like, isn't there a theory, or don't they say that the actual universe is still just expanding?
Yeah, and they think that one day it's going to reverse.
Contract?
Yeah.
I mean, possibly.
Hopefully it'll be long gone by then.
Yeah. Well, so, either way, the universe's creative world is continuously expanding. And added to, so you go from all the Jedi are the only ones that can have technical Force ghosts. But the Sith kind of have Force ghosts.
In the old EU, the Sith did, but George never liked it. You know, he wanted to be understood, and I'm not sure how well like a kid would understand it. Besides, if they really listen to Yoda, like, how dead you are. You know, they have like an echo, and it's bound to this place.
Yeah, but the imagery's confusing if you're talking about, like, you have these different personalities that are talking to him after death. They don't really do a good job of differentiating. Okay, well, she's teaching Yoda something, and this guy's just like, hey, fuck off.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I don't have to listen to you.
Yeah.
And then it just goes back in its tomb. It doesn't really say, oh, well, actually, this isn't a consciousness. This is, you know, imagery for the sake of having Mark Hamill in here and looking and sounding cool.
And this is actually the first time that Bane was. I mean, George came up with the idea of Bane, but he was never in really anything that was canon.
He was lore.
It was his lore that he had, just along with everything else he has. He has like a Bible on all kinds of history stuff, and I mean, of course, I think Drew Karpyshyn knocked it out of the park with, and he also wrote Mass Effect with his Bane trilogy. I thought it was one of the best Star Wars books besides anything that Stover writes. Yeah. But here he is in the
I
actual...
just wish it would have done a better job
of
differentiating that. I'm not saying it was absolute shit. I'm just saying that it didn't do a very good job of drawing the line.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, he goes to this planet, and of course, what else can you do with it? I mean, the other thing I can say is that he had Dooku confront him there, and that's kind of like his past. And maybe kind of a final talk with Dooku. Yeah. To say, come back. And
there's an old EU book called Dark Rendezvous.
Yeah,
where he tries to go do it, and it almost
works, right?
Well, I mean, just Dooku absolutely believes the Republic, and he's right. The Republic is corrupt.
Yeah.
But it's the wrong medicine, and he's been seduced at this point, you know, as well. And we can't forget, like, when you turn, like, there's a little element that goes beyond your control. Like, it's the dark side, you know.
So, I think that they could have done that as another option instead of having all these specters show up that really they don't do any service in terms of, like, oh, there's only one way to live and contain your consciousness, but showing examples of another consciousness.
Yeah.
I'm not just kicking a dead horse. I liked hearing Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
And Saber Duel.
Yeah, the Saber Duel was good. It wasn't like too nuts. I mean, I think we know, like, the best for us at least. I think we like watching, like, kind of like the realistic humans that are, you know what I mean, like, and I think they nailed that with Dooku and Anakin Obi-Wan's last fight.
Oh yeah, I agree.
One of the best fights, but this was consistent with what we saw in the movies from both of them, and it wasn't too crazy because, you know, I think it would be tempting when you're using especially Yoda to, like, go nuts in a cartoon, but it felt just pretty much similar to how he is in the movie.
Yeah,
which isn't nuts. It's just like his species. You know what I mean? Also, you know, sometimes I forget, like, Yoda needs to learn this, because if not, they don't win. Yeah. Like, that gets passed down to Obi-Wan. And that needs to take place to continue his training. You know what I mean? You know, it's something. It's an interesting thing to think about. Like,
it wouldn't have worked if, you know, everything with Luke wouldn't have worked.
Luke wouldn't have worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think about and it is obviously a deeper element within Star Wars. It's the dark side. They want power over death.
Yeah.
And it is something that is virtually unattainable. I think it is basically canon that Plagueis comes the closest, or he's or he doesn't. And the knowledge literally dies with him. You know what I mean?
So Sidious basically fucked up and killed him before he...
Yeah.
Does he admit to that? At some point?
I can't remember, but the Plagueis book, which nothing in the book contradicts anything that's out, so you could still say it's canon. I mean, it's all fiction, right? I think it's incredible. I hope it gets introduced into the canon, into the new canon, like this is literally what happened. You know, exactly 9 years before Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, when Sidious is training, and at that point, Plagueis is like recluse to his dark side fucking lab with all his Sith alchemy and like dark technology that the Sith Empire created back in the day. Something happens, and it's told so beautifully. But what happens is every Jedi in the galaxy and every Force being, they feel like this crushing blackness, and all these animals that are nearby, they all fucking die and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then and also at the same time, Anakin is born. So
born or conceived?
He's conceived.
Okay.
So he doesn't hit it on the head.
Yeah.
And he probably wasn't even allowed to officially answer it because George, he probably had his own ideas. I know he worked closely with Lucasfilm to do it, but I took it as he either indirectly he solved the life over death thing, and he indirectly created Anakin. That is going to eventually be his undoing. Or, and I like this answer more, like he did solve it and the Force struck back by conceiving Anakin to bring balance to itself. Because
Yeah, but he also didn't pass it on. So it's not like
Yeah.
The threat died with him.
Seemingly,
so,
yes. Because
I meant in terms of if that's the case.
Yeah,
I like the idea that he's trying to do it, and then he is what brought about.
I like that idea
the bane of his order.
There's no clear answer that he gave, and I think it's probably good that he left it a little conspicuous. But I mean, Palpatine learns enough to have life over death. You know what I mean? It's just not perfected. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of raping of women and his clones getting passed on and things like that. Which they leave that stuff out of the movies.
Yeah, pretty dark and.
Yeah, I mean, but it's it kind of makes sense. Yeah, I mean,
it makes sense on that side because you don't really see the full extent. The dark side, it's evil, it's the dark side, but you don't see it. Which I don't have to see all the gore.
Like J.K. Rowling, like Voldemort they have to kill a baby and put his soul in there and throw it in the cauldron. But she didn't say, well, I'm not gonna put that in the movies. She didn't even put it in the books.
Yeah,
but it's in her book. Yeah, I mean.
You mean her book?
It's like her lore book. Yeah.
Well, it's in there that you don't have to see all that shit.
Yeah,
you don't
but
have to
it can kind of be inferred, at least on her end.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like good entertainment doesn't always have to have everything in your face.
Doesn't have to have all the answers.
Doesn't have to have all the answers. Doesn't have everything in your face. Like I don't need to see women and children being butchered.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, they can be inferred.
Yeah.
It can be like, okay, this is. Oh, you see, when Anakin goes in to kill the younglings.
Yeah, they actually shot a lot more, but George just said, we don't need this.
Yeah, there's no need to see this.
Yeah.
You know what happens.
Yeah. It was one of those things, it was, what's it called when it's good and bad, when you say goodbye? What's it called?
Good and bad.
Sweet and sour, or bittersweet. Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet. Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet for like me and Eric when we watched it. Because it was like, we honestly, it was like, this is cool. Like, this is how he gets the Force Ghost thing. Mark Hamill's in it. But what's going on with Ahsoka? We knew there was a ton of arcs that were just cut. I'm really glad we got the last season. I think you'll really like that, especially the last few episodes. But in terms of this being the end, most fans were like, "Oh well, all right,"
I think it's funny is they could leave you craving for so much more, and when the answers finally come, you get all of the stuff that Disney just dumps out. Like, you're like, I'm going to give you this, we're going to give you that, we're going to give this, we're going to give you that.
Yeah.
And like fucking firing shit into the sky, and it's like,
yeah,
calm the fuck down. Let's get some quality over quantity.
I think Dave almost got cut, but like he was, I think he's part of the deal for Luke, part of the package
for George to sell.
Yeah. It's like, well, like I'm selling you my company. I want contracts for everyone, like 10 or 20 years so they can feed their families. And his big thing is he said he wanted to make another trilogy, but he said every time he does, it takes a decade of his life or more. And he wanted to give it to, he wanted to pass it on. Of course, we know he went back and forth on that and stuff like that. And Bob Iger admitted in his book that he was a little dishonest with how much he thought.
George was? Or
No, Bob Iger, he said they had a handshake deal, but he knew that, like, we need to go in a different direction than the stuff that I'm hearing from George. And he said that was, like, his biggest mistake because that relationship soured, and he said he wished it didn't. But Rebels end up becoming kind of a sequel series in a way. They bring back some characters. Obviously, Ahsoka's in it. And I think she has some of the most meaningful episodes. And it feels consistent. For me, it's slightly kiddier. They're trying to recapture that episode 4 and 5, kind of like a one crew in a spaceship kind of feel. But for the most part, it's made by a lot of the same people.
You're following the one family around.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, honestly, we keep talking like this is the end. There is more, and it comes like 7 or 8 years after this. Okay. But for you, it's going to be next week.
Yeah.
I'm excited because it looks much crisper. If you can imagine, it looks just a lot better. Any final words for the original ending of Clone Wars?
Yeah, I can see it being kind of hey, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, I thought Rebels honestly tied up a lot of good stuff. And then I saw Clone Wars, like, oh, no, I really did need some of this stuff. Especially because later on in the Ahsoka series, there's so many things that happen. Yeah, I mean, okay.
I'm trying to think of another show that's ended that way, where it just kind of peters out.
Sarah Connor Chronicles.
I never watched it.
It got canceled.
Yeah.
I mean, this essentially got canceled,
Wasn't the chick that played Sarah Connor hot?
It's Lena Headey from 300.
Really?
And she looks hot. She's hot. It's a great show.
Yeah, she's hot. Anyway, I mean,
yeah. It's a great show.
Headey or Headey?
It might be Headey. I think it's Lena Headey, actually, yeah.
Yeah, she was in Dread, too. She plays a pretty vicious woman.
Really?
She's not as hot in that. I mean,
she's vicious. She's vicious in Game of Thrones.
But she's not. She is, but she's not.
Yeah. No, in terms of the arc, I mean, I like the idea of the priestesses and going within that mythology and fantasy elements of it. But yeah, I didn't think.
I think it's kind of like how Samurai Jack originally.
Oh, you're right. That's exactly. It's almost exactly the same.
Season 4, right?
Yeah.
4 seasons, and then season 4, they just kind of like.
But that's almost worse for that show. Because
yeah.
like we knew like we're gonna get the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And
with that, you just don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
And then how are you years later?
Well, that's one of the great things.
Rolls back in, and it came back in a good, strong way. So it's.
No, I think it did. The
only thing it was missing was Mako.
Yeah, it was missing Mako.
And you can't take that back. It is what it was.
Yeah, and they tribute a lot of great little characters that we.
Right. Scotsman made a comeback.
Scotsman,
his daughters.
Well, and his lineage, like that was amazing about it. Yeah.
Where's that coat?
That was a good show. That was a really good show.
Just better cold.
It took a while for Dave to get any clout, I think, in the new regime.
Mm-hmm.
He had to prove himself, I think, and most people love Rebels. I like it a lot. I think it has the best 1 or 2 episodes in animation, but I just like Clone Wars more. I think it's because I like the Clone Wars era more.
Yeah.
You might like Rebels more. I don't know. After he did, they started to say, okay, well, you want to do more things. We'll give you Clone Wars. He wanted to do live action. They said, okay, well, you're going to need to be. He was there when they were filming the movies, the last couple, 8 and 9, and they wanted basically him to be around it, and so he learned. Yeah. And now he just got promoted to CCO or something like that. So he's more in charge, or he more has the ability now to actually have his hand in every single project. He actually was still kind of restricted on what he was even able to know. A lot of people don't know that.
Really?
Yeah. But some people think, oh, he's going to, and I don't think necessarily they need this, but he's going to turn it around, and I'm like, he's not like saying, okay, this is going to get greenlit, this is going to get greenlit. He's just a part of it. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, I think it definitely means we're getting Ahsoka season 2, which we need. Yeah. Which it's been even more endorsed, I guess, by Timothy Zahn. He liked how it went, and he says he wants to come back and write for it, which is kind of interesting.
Just be interested to see who they recast.
To me, he's one of the great characters, one of the great gifts we got out of that show.
Wow.
Like, and all, for real, one of the great gifts.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say, it's just because
I saw someone mention Lau Schreiber, but Lau Schreiber, he's not very tall.
Oh, yeah, Ray's huge. I forgot about that. I forgot, he's really tall. He's like 6'5", isn't he?
He's a really big guy. So
well, they might have to just fuck
huge
that.
Huge fucking broad shoulders. I mean...
Yeah, Schreiber, I can imagine... I kind of imagine
I can see him in the face.
Yeah.
And she's just not as big of a guy.
He's not as big, he's not as tall.
They could find, like, Kevin Nash or somebody. Which he's probably old. He's pretty old now.
Yeah, but, like, the acting. Like,
I agree, but Kevin Nash has been in some movies. He's got some stuff.
He's Super Shredder.
Super Shredder, he was in John Wick.
I forgot about that.
He was that bouncer.
But I think...
He was in fucking... Punisher with Tom Jane. He was the Russian. He had the Waldo shirt.
I forgot about that.
He goes busting in.
Yeah, and then, like, he was kicking the shit out of him.
He stabs him. It's like...
Because he had, like, the gun underneath the thing, and then he pulls it out, he, like, breaks it or something.
Yeah, he's, like, beating the shit
that
out
of him.
That
was a good fucking movie.
It was. Great.
It's hard for me to think about recasting him, but I think it needs to be done for the story.
Yeah, it does.
Unless it's just one of those things where they tell a story a different way, and they, like, his apprentice finds all the stuff that he did.
Maybe. They could work their way around it if they had good writers.
Yeah, I mean, Dave just said his story's... It's there. They have a lot of ideas for it.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks.
Well, some of the best scenes for him was...
It's not as
after his lines, he would have that contemplation.
It's not as simple as
the
Joker with Heath Ledger, where you had a film that ended and had a finale, and you could just write him off.
No, he was like on the freaking Mortis people.
As if Heath Ledger would have lived, I think it was pretty evident that he would have been in the next film. But
it's interesting that there was an uptick on the Clone Wars streaming data during that show, because a lot of people did not know what he was doing and the significance of the Mortis gods. Mm-hmm. So I think that's pretty cool that it was able to come back. I mean, that was written over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Talked a lot. Brett is now working much more than he was. He's like, you guys sometimes have 30-minute conversations. Anyways, guys, we appreciate you. Make sure you tune back in for season 7. It's the last stretch.
Right around the bend.
See ya.